time for awesome. And you remember that I talked about downloading some new updated sound drivers for SQIII about halfway through the LP. Which means that I didn't get to hear the awesome sound right from the start. So let's go back to the very beginning and see what changed with those new drivers. Absolutely nothing. Until this point. I forgot how annoying this music loop is. Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Where am I?
And there you go. That is how the intro changed with the new sound driver. You get to hear Roger say, "Where am I?" Stop it. Thank you. He makes a more realistic sound when he hits the ground, anyway. There was one thing that I really wanted to look at in this part of the game, and neglected to the first time through. So, of course, first I try right-clicking on it. That doesn't work, much to my surprise. And I can't figure out how to describe it, so I'll just have to walk over to it and just type "look ship." That should do it. So it is a bow tie fighter from the Clone Wars. It probably sounds a lot funnier the first time. I've seen that message about 10 times now. And I also wanted to look at that big robotic arm in the background. So let's move on to, I think, the one death I didn't bother to do. Actually, stand in front of the elevator. I'm not really sure whether that's funny or not. It's a problem with humor. Over many repetitions, it just stops seeming as funny. We do have some really nice sound effects here. And at this point, you might remember that once we get onto the rail, I walked to the extreme left and extreme right just to show you what it looked like falling off from the curved surfaces. But you can also just fall off right here. So with that out of the way, let's move on in the game. Here I am on Fleabutt, having just defeated the Arnoid, and as you can probably see by the footprint, he almost caught me there at the back of the cave. I can't reach his belt, and at this point you would normally use the ORAD on a stick to get it. But I've got a more interesting idea. Let's just move on with the game, shall we? Remember to put on my thermo-weave underwear. And we'll head off to Ortega. I didn't really notice how pink the ship is here. Of course, the interior is blue. I don't want it to be blue. But my first take in this ended with failure when I realized you can't walk directly from that shaky rock there straight up to the path above. The shaky rocks, of course, serve no other purpose than making sure you can't take a thermal detonator off the planet. And here's the Scumsoft employees, also known as the Pirates of Pestilon. The thing I don't understand is, why are they the Pirates of Pestilon? As we've seen, they don't do anything piratey. They make software. They'd probably be the least likely people in the world to be pirates. Although I don't think the term software piracy was in use when this game came out. So what the heck are they pirating? What are they even really doing? I never ever understood that. But now that they're out of the way, we can go take their poll. You may remember that in the actual playthrough, once we had blown up the generator, we had to use this pole to vault over the gap, and we lost it in the transition. But if we don't blow up the generator, there's no geological collapse, and we can just walk right out of here again. Making sure once again to step far enough to the left before walking onto the solid platform. Sad part was that I trapped Arnoid my first time, blew it here, didn't save in the meantime, and then it took me about a dozen more tries to finish him the next time. So back to SQIII. And hopefully you see where this is going by now. Because it seems only too sensible that if you go way out of your way to get a nice long pole, you should be able to use that to get the belt instead of using the ore out on a stick. And you can! The game lets you do this. I'm looking at you, SQIII, and you're, no, you can't use the stick as a handhold, you have to use the coat. Anyway, just one more thing to show you in this game. Way at the end, when you're running away from the Pirates of Pestilon and the Aluminum Mallard, I'm not at attack speed at this point. So let's see how this fight against them goes. It's considerably harder to lock on, and in fact, you can't do it. The lock-on simply doesn't work if you're not moving at attack speed. Now, I suppose at this point I could quickly pop out of the weapon controls, put it to attack speed, and then pop back in, but it's more fun just to keep trying to fight them. So I can't lock on. Let's see if I can just shoot him. He's a tricky target. Hey, that one hit him! I don't believe you actually can fight if you're not at attack speed, so speed my way through this. And my shield is depleted. For some reason it still lets you hit the F key, but nothing happens, of course. And now I'm about to take the final hit. And it's a familiar death screen, so I'll see you next time for a lot of Easter eggs, including some really well-hidden ones in SQIII.